is Terry Bradshaw, quarterback, Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's 7:15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
This is baseball, Major League Baseball. And this is
ABC's Monday Night Baseball, live from Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts.
Looking. He's under the gun. He's flat. He throws. It is.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Past Star Prime podcast. The three amigos on hand, as always, Mark Hoffman, Bill Mahoney, and I am Scott Johnston. And on the cover of Sports Illustrated from 50 years ago, no stranger to readers of this magazine, for the 23rd time, the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, only Michael Jordan and Muhammad Ali were on the cover of SI more than Jack. So why is he on it this week? We'll talk about that and more coming up. But first, let's bring in Mark and Bill. What's going on, guys?
Well, I just want to know if we're the three amigos, which one of us is Martin Short, which one is Steve Martin, and which one is Chevy Chase?
Well, since I'm the shorter one here, I think I'd have to be Martin Short.
Okay.
He's a nice guy.
I've heard that.
All right.
Isn't he dating Meryl Streep now?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Can I be Steve Martin?
Since you're difficult, Mark, you got to be Chevy.
No, Steve Martin, he's the oldest one.
Yeah, but you don't have a lick of gray hair. Steve Martin has had gray hair since 1975.
Yeah. Do you remember that album? He remember with the
Grandpa bought a rubber.
Yep.
Now,
he was funny.
If you watch the old Smothers Brothers show, he was a writer on the show and would do skits on occasion.
Oh, was he really?
Jet black hair there, yeah.
Wow. I still love him in Dirty Rotten Scoundrel, so.
Oh, he's done a lot of great stuff.
Yes, he has. He's so talented.
The Jerk.
Planes, Trains.
Before we get to the scorecard, first thing in the issue is a letter to the publisher written by Mark Cram Sr., and he's writing about how he stopped playing minor league ball after taking one to the head that put him in the hospital for a week. More on that later in the issue, but my question to you both is, what is the worst injury you guys suffered playing a sport? You guys ever break anything?
Collarbone.
I knew you had.
Yeah. Head, no. I broke every one of my fingers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember one time we were just messing around. It wasn't even during practice. We were just messing around after practice, and I went up to defend a pass, and the ball hit my pinky, and it snapped it. And it was hanging by a tendon. And I went to the hospital, and the doctor said, well, I'm going to try to see if I can snap back in. If not, we may have to cut it off. And he snapped it back in, fortunately. But it was just hanging there. It was disgusting.
And the other option was cutting it off?
Yep.
Oh.
I think he isn't. Well, if you can't get the tendon, or you can't get it in, and it's just hanging by a tendon, it's like of no use to you.
Wow, who knew? I had one where I didn't really get hurt, but I was playing first. I think I was playing first base in Little League, and got the pitcher threw the ball to me to tag the runner, and the runner and I got tangled up, so I couldn't get my glove up, and the ball hit me in the head. But it wasn't that hard. But I kind of like went down for a second, and then when I got back up, everyone clapped. Everyone clapped when I got back up, and I was like, oh, that was kind of nice. And so then the game resumed, and we're getting killed. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get clapped. They're going to clap for me again if I come out of the game. So I waved to the coach and was like, I gotta come out. And not realizing that when I came out, I'd be out of the game. So I came out, everyone clapped for me again. And then it dawned on me right then. I was like, oh, son of a... I can't play anymore now. I'm out of the game. So that's what you get for trying to be a little showboat at the age of 10.
I think I'd love to have seen that.
Yeah.
I think I told this story before, but we used to, when I was in high school, go to the old elementary school and play two-pitch softball on an asphalt field. And if you foul the ball off twice, that's 2 strikes, you're out. And there was a guy, Olaf Schultz, he kept fouling balls off and he was getting really pissed. So finally he took the bat and just threw it against the fence, except I was standing between him and the fence and it just hit me on the side of the head. And fortunately, it caught mostly my ear because if it hit my jaw, it probably breaks it. If it hits my head, God knows what happens. But the ear absorbed the blow, but the ear just ballooned up. I went to the hospital to get x-rays to make sure nothing was damaged, but my ear was black, blue, green, and 3 times its size.
Mm.
Ooh.
So you weren't even playing and you took one in the head.
Yep.
Jeez.
Damn, man.
All right, scorecard. Billy, little case of mistaken identity with the Astros.
Yes. Well, the Houston Astros, obviously not that good in 75. They're waiting in the Houston airport when a young woman asks them, "Excuse me, are you part of some group or something?" Well, Tommy Helms quickly replied, "Yes, ma'am, we're all caddies on the golf tour." The woman nodded, walked away. 5 minutes later, she returned and said, "You're not caddies, you're putting me on." The Astro Helms and they all laughed and said, "Yeah, well, I was kidding. We're really the Houston Astros." The woman smiled and nodded. "I understand. If I were in your place, I wouldn't tell anyone either."
Oh,
Uh,
that is rough, man. I mean, I don't care how bad you are. Even the White Sox from last year or the Rockies from this year, still major leaguers.
Yes, yes.
Mark,
I got a scorecard too, and it's one dear to my heart. It's the hunt for the Loch Ness monster. And so these people in England came up with the idea of trying raw sex as a way to lure the beastie out of the water. So they built a female monster, a paper mache with big eyelashes, a pink lip, snorting nostrils and stuff. And they put it on a machine and they floated across the lake, hoping that, Nessie would see it and fall in love. But no, Nessie came. And but my experience, I was up in Loch Ness. I took a tour up there. And if you go on the boats there, there's a window and they have like the silhouette of the Loch Ness monster. So if you look through the window, it looks like the Loch Ness monster is like swimming right next to the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does anyone believe in the Loch Ness monster?
no,
No.
It's great for tourism. I would.
I think
From Scotland.
we believed in it like when we were 9,
Yes, that same in Bigfoot.
Yeah.
right?
You know what I also learned when I was in Scotland, besides the Loch Ness monster? That they don't say the word if, like, if you see someone, it's the letter F. So, F you see McGregor. So,
Oh, I'll try that tomorrow.
yes.
Yeah.
F you.
They said it, Mark.
Oh, sure. Put me on the spot again. I'm going to do Rocky Graziano, great boxer. And he did a lot of commercials, man. He was so personable. So he made his singing debut in a New York City nightclub. He said, "The singing is easy. Memorizing the words is hard." So I guess that means he's a scat singer. Like,
I think what it means is he's taken
I'm a scat
one too many
man.
to the temple and he can't remember. Remember what was it, Rocky 2, when Rocky's trying to do commercials and stuff, and
Yeah.
that did not go well.
He was
Callie went through her scat phase because I have some scat shit things on my phone music.
Really?
Yes, she did. I'm a scat man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Chicka chicka chicka. Yeah, she used to know the whole song.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad that ended.
Me too. Because now the song comes up and she's like, "What's this song, Dad?" I go, "It's a song you wanted 2 years ago." He used to walk around going, "I'm a scat man." And she knew all the little, yeah. Scat gal.
They're funny. I got one. Mickey Mantle on his new job with a Dallas firm. "I'm a vice president in charge of special marketing. That means I play golf and go to cocktail parties. I'm pretty good at my job."
I think we'd all be pretty good at that job.
Yeah, he was pretty good he was a little too good at part of that job.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He enjoyed the cocktail, that's for sure. That gets us to our cover story, "Swinging on a Star" by Dan Jenkins. Jack Nicklaus has done it again, his 4th PGA championship, his 16th major. And this is the one that 50 years later, nobody has eclipsed. Tiger is second with 15. Jack would win 2 more before he retired, but this was number 16 at the Firestone Country Club in Akron, Ohio. It's 4 PGAs. What is it, Billy?
4 PGAs,
Uh-huh.
5 Masters, 3 US Opens, 2 British Opens, and 2 US Amateurs.
Now I have 6 Masters. I have them in 86. Did I do that wrong?
No, he's got 18. This is 16 back then.
Yeah.
Right. So that's six Masters, 5 PGA, 4 US Opens, 3 Opens. That's 7, 12. That's 18.
Yeah.
And
So
Yeah.
he won the PGA in 80, the US Open in 80,
Yeah.
and then the Masters in 86.
that's right.
So
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 this
that's
is
15.
15.
The part that's confusing about this is that they used to count the US
They
amateurs
did. They did.
as
Ah,
They did.
majors.
And
I
they don't
got you.
now.
Okay.
So that's why at this point he has 16, but really in today's world it would be 14. He goes on to win 4 more slams, as they call them, to finish with 18, 20 if you count the US amateurs, which they don't anymore.
I mean, no matter how you want to put it,
Because
117,
that would give Tiger Woods
you know,
one more.
73 on the PGA Tour. He's one of the greatest.
Oh yeah, he's. I mean, I think it's pretty clear cut. He's the greatest.
Well, did you read about, you guys, I'm sure you did, read about his 16th, his shot on the 16th, the par he made on the 16th of
Yeah.
that tournament? He hit the ball into a ravine, then dropped the ball behind the hazard about 30 feet. Then he hit the ball behind a huge tree. It's almost like a, Happy Gilmore movie. Then he hit it onto the green, over the trees, onto the green, and sank a 30-footer for par, which basically saved the match for him, saved the tournament for him. It's an amazing man. I mean, I watched that.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Mark, he wins by 2 strokes over Bruce Crampton, but it wasn't really that close, was it?
No. I mean, he had it. He's sewed up, going into the last hole, and I believe he bogeyed the last hole, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, it wasn't that close. He had it well in hand by then, and Bruce Crampton was represented Australia. He was a pretty good little golfer himself. But I
He
think that
was.
was, yeah, but I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say for Bruce Crampton, that might have been the closest he came to winning a major.
Well, actually, Crampton said that we all suffer from human deficiencies. Jack just suffers from fewer of them. He wouldn't have made. He actually got a double bogey on the 18th.
Oh.
Crampton said he wouldn't have made 6 at that last hole if he needed something better. Jack was asked if that were true, and winking, he said, "I wouldn't have."
Yeah.
So Crampton finished second 5 times in majors. And what did those 5 second place finishes have in common? You guys know?
I
No.
do, but I'm not going to steal the punchline from you.
No,
way.
go ahead.
No. Ian Nicholas was the winner in each one of those. That's unbelievable.
So
You
if
would
he had
hate
just bumped off
in
Jack,
private,
he
in
could have had
private, you would
5
hate
wins.
Jack Nicklaus.
What he should have done going to the final round, he put something in his drink, knocks him out, and then
Yes.
he wins 5 tournaments.
Yes, slip him a Mickey.
Yep,
We know how that works.
a Mickey Mantle.
I mean, Crampton is a bona fide, legit,
Yep.
great golfer.
Yep.
And yet Jack got in his way, as he did so many times. So,
There was also the funny thing with the Ed Doherty.
yes.
He was the leader through 3 rounds, but he was more excited to meet the Jim McKay of ABC. When McKay stuck his hand out, congratulate the unknown after he shot a 69, Doherty lit up and said, "My God, you're the thrill of victory and agony of defeat guy. I've watched you my whole life." That is so 100% true that a lot of people would have said.
Oh, back then for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Sure.
That's awesome.
Let's move on. Getting high over Mardi Gras. It's the Superdome. The first game in New Orleans saw the Houston Oilers come to town for an exhibition game. The famous dome that is still in play in Louisiana. Oilers coach Bum Phillips said, "I don't know what they paid for this thing," as he looked around, but it just might be worth it. $163 million to be exact, coach. Thanks for asking. And it's not quite 100% done. Some of the 32 escalators aren't up to speed. In fact, a nun trying to get to her seat way up remarked after she caught her breath, "Up here, I certainly feel closer to God."
You know what's so interesting is they're playing the Oilers. So the Oilers that had the first indoor stadium, the Astrodome, and then, playing the Saints with the second indoor stadium, which is now so common. and they had over 72,000 fans for this exhibition game. It's really weird because you look at the picture and like the sidelines, there's so much space between behind the benches and where the seats are on the ground.
Yep. Yep. Opening kick was returned by none other than Oilers rookie Billy White Shoes Johnson for 76 yards. And the Saints lost the game 13-7, but nobody remembers that. It's the building that has stood the test of time. Either of you guys ever been there?
Nope.
I was outside it because we went to New Orleans. There was nothing going on that weekend, but yeah, I've been outside it.
I have never been to New Orleans. My biggest regret. Well,
You
not
can
my
still
biggest
go.
regret.
It's still there.
Not my biggest
I
regret.
mean, your biggest regret, it's still
Hanging
there.
with you guys are my biggest regret. But
No, I'm saying, but you said it's a regret. You get on a flight this weekend.
Yeah.
okay.
They've not taken it
That's on my
down.
bucket list. It's on my
I
bucket
had my, that was where my bachelor party was.
Is there a lot of drinking?
Drinking what? We had to stay
Hurricanes.
hydrated.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of
list.
water.
Right.
Did you ever meet the mayor there, the mayor Moon Landreau? Because he went to that first game.
No, it didn't. That game didn't turn out so well for the mayor of New Orleans, did it?
No, a toilet above him overflowed,
Oh, God.
sending a stream through a crack onto the mayor. And he cried, "What's this?" An alarm. They told him it's the wave of the future.
Oh,
How do you, man? Your mayor comes out and he's got, poop on him. It's cool.
Well, they think a
What a
lot
game.
of they think a lot of politicians are full of you know what. So.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
that is disgusting.
That's right. What is it? What do they say in Scotland? If you get poop on you.
Yeah.
After you
There
get
you
poop
go.
on you, go see McGregor.
I just feel crappy that New Orleans is now gone. It was on Mark's bucket list.
Nice. Just a little country hit by our buddy Curry Kirkpatrick. Some of tennis's best showed up in the hills of New Hampshire for the Volvo International, and the players didn't disappoint. Jimmy Connors beats Rod Laver in the semis, and in the other one, Ken Rosewall dispatches of Ili Nastase in 3 sets. That set up a rematch of the 74 Wimbledon final between Connors and Rosewall, and once again, the 22-year-old Connors dominated the 40-year-old Rosewall. You may get old one day and find out what it's like, said Rod Laver after he lost to Connors in the semis. I already have, said Connors. The teenagers keep coming after me, but they haven't caught up to him just yet. But even this, I thought the one interesting thing that I took from this is after those two, he just lost to Ash in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Going to lose the U.S. Open coming up here. You can kind of see a little personality here with Jimmy Connors. I mean, both Rod Laver and Ken Rosewall in the past, they wanted nothing to do with them. So looks like they're having a little more give and take with him off the court. And, Jimmy would go on to become a fan favorite towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was certainly not the case back in when he was the #1 player in the world.
But it's interesting.
I
There's
saw
a
him in a
picture.
Legends tournament in Vegas years ago. He was beloved by everybody.
Yeah.
I saw him once at a Big Five sporting goods store, believe it or not.
Did you say anything to him?
No. But in this picture in the magazine, it looks like he's wearing an ascot. I know it's kind of like a scarf or something like to wipe the sweat off, but it looks like an ascot in the picture. So he was kind of styling. But what I love about this Volvo International, it's played in New Hampshire, which we all know is the granite state for all the granite it has. But to me, New Hampshire will always be known as Breaking Bad, where Walter White went to escape the law with a vacuum cleaner, sent him to New Hampshire.
Have you guys been to New Hampshire? It was on my bucket list.
I've been to either Vermont or New Hampshire. I don't know which one it was. That's what saw the fish die in the lake, and it made me not eat fish after that.
Scott, have you been there?
I went there right before it closed.
Yep. Damn it. I'll get there one day. I met a girl. I knew one of Callie's dance teachers. She was from New Hampshire. I said, "Oh, you grew up there?" She goes, "I don't want to talk about that. I don't like that life." So she never told me about it. She goes, "That's the I said, she goes, "I don't talk about it because that's the reason I left." I said, "Okay." And I took 3 steps back.
Easy does it there.
She did not like New Hampshire. I said, "Well, what do you guys do in New Hampshire?" She goes, "You go down to the lake and get drunk or other things." I said, "Okay."
All right. Nice talking to you. I think there are probably other things to do.
Yes. Well, when it was open.
Yeah. It closed for a good reason, apparently.
Yep. Yeah, that's off my bucket.
And you know what, Mark? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the people of Vermont and New Hampshire really appreciate you not knowing which state you went to.
Hey, I was like 7 years old at the
He's
time.
great for
I'm
tourism.
sorry. It was a very
Mark's the one
famous
going,
lie.
Mark's one going, go there if you want. I'm not sure which one it is, but go.
You know, it
That'd be
is
funny if I was Walter White and they sent me to New Hampshire and I went to Vermont instead.
it is funny to be back there compared to California or like Texas, where you can drive forever and stay in the same state.
Yep.
But you know, there you can go from, I mean, we would drive from Massachusetts through all of New Hampshire up into Maine and then into Canada, and the states are just so much smaller back there.
But you guys are smart guys. Scott and Mark, you're smart guys. Why is it called New Hampshire? Is there actually a Hampshire out there that we don't know about?
England, isn't Hampshire in England?
Yes,
Is that what it's called? Is that why it's called New Hampshire?
Just like there's York in England, so we have New York.
Oh, see, there you go. I knew nothing. Well, then
You
why
know
do they have
nothing.
New
You
Mexico?
absolutely know
Not even
nothing.
close to Mexico.
New England.
Yeah,
And
New
yes,
Mexico. You know how many people think New Mexico is in Mexico?
That's what I'm saying. So why is it new?
the original Mexico is in Ireland,
When it was open.
part of the UK.
Okay, I'm going to Hampshire next.
In all events, he's the best. He being the operative word in that headline, as Bruce Jenner, one of the most famous track and field stars in U.S. history, wins the decathlon as he preps for his 1976 quest for gold at the Olympics in Montreal. He's 25 years old. He's an insurance salesman from San Jose. Sounds like I'm introducing him to the dating game or
Oh my
something.
God. Well, Y.E. Tittle was on To Tell the Truth once, and they introduced him as a State Farm agent from San Francisco, Palo Alto.
Yeah.
Yes, because that
Well,
was
they
his
lied.
job. Yeah.
Bruce is 6'2", 195 pounds, and I wouldn't say I always thought he was soft, but man, you look at this picture of him in the magazine.
Oh
and
my God,
he is
yeah.
in phenomenal shape.
He is cut. He is cut. You can see the definitions of the muscles. It's just
Yeah. Yep. So, one of the greatest track and field stars of that era. I mean, he was on every commercial. He was the guy on the Wheaties box, Breakfast of Champions. Before there was Caitlyn Jenner and the Kardashians and all that reality TV nonsense, there was this world-class athlete by the name of Bruce Jenner.
Yep.
So, all right, moving on to Mark's volcano talk. What, there was something about a volcano in this issue?
Yes.
nope,
yes.
nope. It's all about, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Hidetaka Nishiyama.
I'm
And-
sure you got it right. That
Yeah,
sounds
you did.
perfect.
Yeah, that sounds
And-
fair.
And he is like trying to get karate to be an Olympic sport. He's in the U.S. He's got I think a studio on Olympic Boulevard. In fact, that's really weird. I'm looking at the address of the studio, and I think that's like where my wife's office is now. But anyway, he's trying all he can do, and he passed away. But in 2020, I think it was the first time they actually had karate as an Olympic sport. And of course, it was in Tokyo. But then in 24 in Paris, no karate. And in 20 in LA, there's going to be no karate. But, karate became so popular because Bruce Lee though it was Bruce Lee more kung fu than karate. But then the Karate Kid movie in 84 and all those spinoffs from that.
Yeah.
So
Still spinning
karate
off.
became real popular.
And Bill, who was your sensei in this?
Miyagi.
It wasn't Reese.
You're part of the Miyagi-Do,
Yes. Come on, how can you do that? He gave a kid a car.
right?
He got the prettiest girl.
Yeah, but he also worked at this driving on Happy Days too.
Yeah, he did. It's
He
but
owned
was
it,
because he
right?
had to finally get out of the valley
Yeah,
because he kept beating up all the other senseis.
right.
It's
Beat up
funny because
Harry and Crease.
Had to go to
Yep.
Milwaukee.
Yes,
Pat Morita.
he was
he
awesome.
was a good actor. He was a good
Yeah, he
comedian.
was. He
I
was.
am very likable. Next one. This is a tough one. Their lives are on the line by Mark Cram Sr. This is about fear and those who overcome it to play sports and those who don't. And there's nothing more scary than the beanball in baseball. And Cram knows firsthand of this. As we mentioned, he's a minor league ball player one day. then takes one to the noggin, and that was it. Baseball career over. Most infamous beaning was when Cleveland's Ray Chapman was killed by a pitch from the Yankees' Carl Mays. The ball hits Chapman so hard that it rolled to the third baseman, who thought it was a bunt. And think of that. That's 105 years ago. Still the only major leaguer to die of a beanball, and yet it still strikes fear. And to many, it's called a hardball for a reason.
Yep.
And
1920. Yeah.
1920, right?
I remember Tony Conigliaro got hit in the
Yeah.
eye, fractured like his eye socket. He was never the same player after that.
Yep.
It's a little more amazing now because the guys throw harder now. A lot of these guys are throwing in at, early or 100 and more miles per hour.
Right.
And your reaction time, if you ever
Yeah.
sit like at home plate right behind them as they're pitching, you've got a split second to make a decision whether the swinger or the ball's coming at you or not. So it's very tough. It's scary.
Shoot, I saw a thing today on Chipper Jones was talking about hitting, and he said a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, which is considered slow now. You have 0.42 seconds to recognize it.
Oh,
It is. And then from that, I think they said 0.17 seconds to react.
wow.
So
I remember we talked to Ron Say about it, getting hit in the head by Goose Gossage. I don't know how hard Gossage threw at that time, but Say had no chance. He had no reaction time. It was going that hard to hit him in the head. Think if he wasn't wearing the flap on his helmet.
I mean, God, I hope I'm not jinxing anyone, but it's, I know the helmets are better and all that stuff, but it's just amazing. It's amazing that a hitter, or for that matter, a pitcher hasn't taken a liner back up
Yes.
the middle and been seriously injured. So
Well, we've seen a lot of them recently do that. Didn't Mizorowski of the Brewers just take one off his shin? Now it's
Yeah.
had to get out because he may have fractured something.
Yep.
I'm amazed because they come back through that box really quickly, and these dudes are huge. Some of these dudes are just huge.
Yeah. The pitchers who come high and tight are known as headhunters. I don't know any guys who are headhunters, says the A's Reggie Jackson. A lot of pitchers will knock you down, but they're not headhunters. Of course, some pitchers are unconcerned where they hit you or not. Pitchers like Jim Cott, Bill Singer, and Sonny Siebert. But Greg Lazinski, he doesn't agree. And he says about this guy on the Padres named Bill Greff, he's number one. He'd better wise up. He's going to get hurt bad one of these days. So maybe Reggie's just being politic, not trying to name names. But Lazinski's like, oh, this son of a gun, he's coming too high and too tight. And then what about the Mike Torres story? That
I saw that. Pretty rough on the mound, yeah.
Yeah.
But he'll come in on you.
And then they talked in this article about the time when Thurman Munson was just
that's right.
killing the Orioles, and so he took it upon himself to drill Munson, and a fight ensued. And as Mark asked him about it when he was on our show back in July, Torres responded, "How?" He blew a kiss to him.
That's
Yep.
right.
I'm wondering, going back to the also Ray Chapman being the only player killed. No, he didn't die till that night in the hospital. I'm wondering if the thing had happened in 2020, not 1920.
Yeah.
If there are things they could have done at the hospital to save his life.
Yep.
Yeah, very possible, for sure. And what about the Don Zimmer one? Do you guys know about this?
I learned about it in this story.
He gets hit by a beanball in 1956. He's unconscious for 13 days, hospitalized for 31, and he loses 46 pounds. He goes from 170 to 124.
Yeah, there's a crash diet for you.
And he couldn't talk for 6 weeks.
Didn't he have a plate in his head?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He does, yeah.
We think of Zimmer as being like this kind of roly-poly guy. But, man. So, anyway, there's...
But
you're right.
they said Mark Scotty came back in 56 and got hit in the left eye. So he had to wear a blindfold and pinhole glasses for 12
And then he got
and he couldn't even bend over and be around his children.
Yeah.
And who was it? Was it Pedro Martinez that hit him during that one?
And he pushed him over.
Yeah, when he came out of the dugout.
He threw him.
Yeah.
Pedro was like, get away from me, old man.
Oh, my God.
Too funny. Someone who knows exactly what it's like to be on the receiving end of a high and tight fastball is Adam Greenberg. After a stellar collegiate career at North Carolina, Adam was drafted by the Cubs in 2002. He rose through the system, and in July of 2005, all the hard work paid off when he got the call. Adam Greenberg was a major leaguer, and 2 nights later, he made his debut. And in his first game, the first pitch, disaster. Valerio de los Santos hit Greenberg in the back of the head, fracturing his skull. Now, if that were the end of the story, it would be enough, but it's far from it. And here to tell us more, the author of the book, Get Up, The Art of Perseverance, and Major League ball player, Adam Greenberg. Adam, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Scott. Appreciate it. This is great.
Adam, I'm assuming that July 9th, 2005 went from being one of the best days of your life to one of the worst. Take us through that day, the emotions of that day, and everything you went through.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a dream come true, as you can imagine. 24-year-old kid from Guilford, Connecticut. There's never been a major leaguer or professional baseball player ever out of my hometown. So against all odds, and I say all odds because you have literally a 0.0009375% chance to make it to the major leagues, which is just about nothing. And being 5'8 3/4, Jewish and from Guilford, Connecticut, you kind of stack even more odds, not in my favor. But it was magical. I mean, I flew down on first class from Tennessee down to Miami, my first class flight I'd ever been on. And I was like, man, I'm never going back, going back further than this. But it was really, really cool. Just everything from the flight to getting my envelope of meal money at the time, which was more money than I had gotten in any month's worth of playing minor league baseball. And I was like, what is this? They're like, well, it's meal money. If you don't want it, you can give it back. To signing my contract, where I then officially became a major league baseball player, going into the clubhouse and seeing my jersey and having a locker and being with the guys. I mean, it was literally everything you could possibly imagine, a boyhood dream coming true. And all the work, all the, I don't want to say pain and suffering, but all the work and dedication and things that went in, and having it go so perfectly right then and there to be at that spot. It was quite magical. So, the emotions were riding high, and of course I was ready. I didn't get the start that night, but I had my batting gloves on and everything but my helmet the whole game, waiting for my opportunity. And the bench coach, going into the ninth inning, yelled down, he said, "Greenberg, get a bat. You're pinch hitting for the pitcher." And at that time, I actually did have my bat. I had everything. I was like, I don't need anything. So all I needed is my helmet. And I walked by Dusty Baker, grabbed my helmet. He just said, "Go get him, kid." And I never forget, like, I put my helmet on. And I know this may sound like really, really specific, but I put it on, and I had never really worn a major league helmet. Even in batting practice, you don't put on a helmet in big leagues. You just wear a hat. And the minor league helmets is like a space helmet, right? It's both sides. You got two ear flaps. So I put it on, and I only have this one ear flap. It just felt different. But that was it. And then got up to the plate, told the umpire I was pinch hitting for the pitcher, for our pitcher. And honest to God, I didn't even know who was pitching. It didn't matter. I knew it was a left-hander. Didn't know if he threw a slider. I assumed he had a slider versus a curveball. Did he have a change? I really didn't know much of anything. Nowadays with analytics, you would have a little bit more insight. But he's still got a white ball, and he's got to throw over the plate. And you got to go to the zone. And you got to be ready to hit. And so my approach was just go be aggressive. I learned back in spring training, my first spring training, I faced Tom Gordon in my, when you're coming up through the ranks, you're not really pinch hitting a lot. And I'm not saying I was a top prospect, but if you're a prospect and you're playing, you're usually in the starting lineup. So my first pinch hit appearance was in spring training against Tom Gordon. And I'm a leadoff batter by trade, right? I've always been leadoff, work counts early in the game, make the pitcher work and find a way on. And I'll never forget, he threw a 95+ mile an hour fastball right down the middle. And I just took it. I'm like, oh, I'm ready for this guy. and I knew who Flash was. And then 3 curveballs later, I was running back to the dugout going, "Oh my God, I should hit that first one." But what it was a great learning experience, because from then on, it always became, you come off the bench, you're cold, they're hot, you better be swinging. They've got out pitches, so you don't want to get to that out pitch without taking the bat off your shoulder. So I say all that to say I was ready to hit. I was in aggressive zone mode. Let's go. And in with the 90-mile-an-hour plus fastball, you got 0.3 of a second to make that, not reaction decision, but actually bat to ball, right? So if you're in take mode, you're too late. Or reactionary mode, you're too late. You have to go and then stop, right? You're anticipating go, stop. And in 0.3 of a second, the brain has some pretty magical things that it can produce in terms of processing. So the first 1/10 of the second, the ball was coming right at my head. And I told myself, stay in there. Could be a breaking ball. And you don't want to look stupid bailing out first major league pitch and having strike one. All that, this is true. All of that went through my head with that first 1/10 of a second, the ball's coming at me.
Oh.
Second 10th, it was, I got that spin. It's not a slider. It's not a curveball. So then it's just, get out of the way. And the only way that I could get out of the way was turning to kind of get away from the ball. The ball caught me up under that nice, cheap little helmet that didn't really have much security under it. And it caught me up under the helmet and right on the back of my head. And I remember my eyes rolled in the back of my head, and I grabbed my head, and I say it all the time. I really thought I was holding my skull together. Oof. I thought it split open, and I thought I was dying. And like in the movies, you see in the movies all the time, "Oh, stay alive, stay alive." So, or stay with me. So I said to myself 3 times, I said, "Stay alive, stay alive, stay alive." So yeah, it went from the most insane, unbelievable experience being a Major League Baseball player, and in 0.3 of a second, I'm fighting for my life. It was that much. And I do a lot of speeches throughout the country, and I always say, like, imagine having the best thing and the best experience matched with the worst experience you've ever had at the exact same second. Like it's hard to kind of put into words. And most people aren't able to really process, well, what would that mean in my life? But that's what it was in mine. That's for sure.
It's hard to contemplate, because it just doesn't happen, which is what makes it, such an incredible story. People don't have the best moment of their life also be a catastrophic moment. I have to assume or think that maybe family and friends were there to witness your first game. It just had to be a very scary time for the entire Greenberg clan.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the player, and I've learned this now, family, specifically mom and dad, brothers and sisters, you don't have control when you're a spectator. So you get a certain level of emotions and what have you. As a player, I'm in control. So in the batter's box, it's what I do. So there's no nerves. When I got hit, I lost control for the first time in my life with my eyes and what have you. But I knew that when Paul LaDuca, who was catching, he came over me and he didn't say, "Go get towels, go get," he wasn't freaking out. I knew that I wasn't bleeding out. My hands felt like they were soaking wet, even though they weren't, but that was my mind playing tricks. But when my eyes came to and I never lost consciousness, I knew that I was okay. But my family who was there, I couldn't imagine, being a dad now, because I got 3 kids, I couldn't imagine what they actually went through for that period of time. They talk about it, of course, but again, being a parent now, I was always like, "Oh, I'm fine. You're right." But to them, it's almost more emotionally scarring than it is for the person that something happens, because again, it was somewhat of my control. So I just had to play. I'm not going to say, when they came out, they asked a few questions, the training staff, the basic, right? They asked how many fingers were they holding up, and then they had me follow their finger. And then they asked me the third question. I tell people all the time, I said, you think you want something bad enough? I'll challenge you. Like, you say you want to be this, you want to be that, you want to have money, you want to have success. Okay, well, I usually call BS on them and say, all right, I'll tell you what dedication really is, or how bad you need to want something. So they asked me, where was I 2 days ago? And without a blink, a hesitation, nothing. I was in the minor leagues and I'm not going back. So like I was obsessed that much that all I cared about was where I was that moment. And it was like, nothing's going to get in my way, even though seconds before I thought I was going to die. But it was pretty crazy.
So I've seen the video, obviously we all have, and they're taking you back to the dugout. You got two players holding you up. When you get back in the clubhouse and the adrenaline wears off a little bit, is that when you knew, oh man, this is worse than expected?
Well, I'll give you an even funnier one. So as I'm walking off and getting like walked off the field, I couldn't help but, I mean, you kind of see it, but I was almost like cracking a smile, like, oh my God, this is the most embarrassing thing in my life. Like, I'm getting carried off the field. Carlos Zambrano is running past me, going to pinch run for me. He was 300 pounds, and I can't even make it to first base. And I'm literally being walked off the field after my first pitch. So at that point, it was kind of like, this is just bizarre. And the adrenaline didn't, and I didn't realize how bad it was because it was a head injury. So it wasn't I had a headache, but it wasn't as if my cognition wasn't there. It wasn't as if like I couldn't walk or anything like that. So I just I kind of sat there, and there wasn't really cell phone. So they called I think De Los Santos called from the clubhouse over and just asked if I was okay. But I just felt like, man, this is embarrassing more than anything, more than like, am I really okay? I didn't know how bad it was. The next morning I got up and I remember walking outside and the light was just not literally nauseating. So I didn't even go to the hospital that first night. I went right after I walked outside and I said, I should probably go get checked out. But it was so 2005. Nobody cared. Nobody knew. It was like such a, all right, you got hurt, and I'll see you tomorrow. So when I got to the clubhouse and tried putting on my clothes, it was like, man, my head was just not in a good place. Walking outside, I had to have my glasses on. And then I know that being outside, I was wiped out. So again, embarrassment, walking in, falling asleep on the couch in the clubhouse with Greg Maddux over there and Kerry Wood over there. I'm like, this sucks. I mean, it was very lonely, like very kind of weird feeling, something that, again, I'd never experienced, falling asleep in a major league clubhouse because it just didn't feel right. So that was the hard part. And then so that was the only day that I had to be there doing that because it was the All-Star break right after. So it was one of those, all right, see you later. I'll see you in Chicago in a few days. So I flew home and I remember almost falling. I was in the bathroom and I kind of didn't black out, but I just fell. And thankfully there was a door there and I was able to hold up. So I started getting a little concerned there. And then when I would move my head into certain positions, my eyes would literally go side to side, like uncontrollably. And that made me a little bit more freaked out because I'm a big, like, if I know what is going on, I'll just go fix it. Like I'll find a way and fix it. But when I was home for those few days, it happened all the time. Every time I'd lay down, and now understanding benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, like you got crystals in your inner ear. So when you move them, you move in certain positions, the crystals go into certain canals and then it controls your eyes. And then it's a migraine headache and it's like being on a roller coaster with a migraine. It's awful. So that was the concern when I would talk to as many doctors as I could. No one could tell me what was wrong with me. And it took, I swear to God, I used to say like 17 different doctors where I was finally diagnosed with the benign paroxysmal positional vertigo on top of a pretty horrific concussion.
You're a Major League Baseball player, Adam, a Major League Baseball player, and all of a sudden, in certain ways, it's taken away from you. How tough emotionally was it for you just not to get back on the field after the All-Star break and after that?
Okay. So complicated answer, because it was almost as if it was my whole life all over again, because I never really got to experience being a major leaguer. So it was almost like, okay, I just have to do this, 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 and this and get back. So the tough part was coming back after the All-Star break and not being able to play, certainly, and being on the field and having to be asked, hey, are you good? Are you good today? And I couldn't even keep my head on straight. And I remember taking batting practice. Like I was jogging during our warm-ups and my eyes felt like they were disconnected from my head. So it felt like they were floating, and it was just wild. So I tried to hit, and the only way that I could do it, which was great, because if you hit and don't move your head, well, you're a better hitter. So I would just load and hit. And for all intents and purposes, my batting practice seemed to be fine, but I couldn't play defense. I couldn't run after a baseball. I was restricted to that. So the hardest part was telling Dusty Baker, and subsequently then the general manager at the time, Jim Hendry, I couldn't play. And we had a 4-game stretch with, we were playing the Pirates, and we won all 4 games, and it was amazing, but I felt horrible. It was 4 of the most difficult days I've ever experienced, and I was a Major League Baseball player.
So at what point in time did it become apparent to you that my major league career is in jeopardy? I may never play this game again. I won't be a part of the Cubs. When did that finally realization hit you?
It was a while. And I say that because when I always just have this mentality of I'm going to get there, right? I'm going to get back. So when I got my diagnosis finally, and it was like, oh, great. Now I just need to fix it. Now it's called Epley maneuver, where I'd literally put myself into vertigo multiple times a day and realign the crystals. It was horrible, but it was a pathway to get back. When I first went to Arizona, though, I didn't have that diagnosis. When I was first in Arizona after the 4-day stint in Chicago against the Pirates, I slept with a neck brace on, sitting up for 4 or 5 days straight, because they said once you're 72 hours symptom free, you can come back and play. So I was like, well, I know what puts me into symptoms, so let me go back and play. So I remember getting back on the field in Arizona, and I was able to hit again. Same thing. I could hit very well, but I really struggled with the whole running thing. So it ended up being about 21 days, because that was the stint. 21 days to then get released back to play, which is where they're like, all right, you're going to go to AA. And it was bizarre because they're like, well, and they're taking you off the major league roster. So I didn't even get 1 game of a major league rehab stint. Imagine that nowadays. And I don't have any remorse or frustration, really. But back in the day, it was just like, oh, well, you're not ready and you can't play, so we need that roster spot. And otherwise we have to put you on a 60-day, and we don't want to do that. So nowadays I'd be on a 60-day until I made it back to the major leagues, or I was 100% cleared for at least a year without any symptoms. Because 2.5 years later was when my symptoms were completely gone. So now, yeah, would that have changed my personal life and some financing and whatever, and I'd be a big leaguer for that period of time and whatever? It didn't happen. But that was the first kind of gut punch of like, really? That kind of sucks. But it still wasn't my career's over. I can't make it. It's I got to work harder. I got to get back. So finishing out that year was fine. I didn't get back up. But it was fine for the most part until towards the end of the year. The symptoms were bad. They were bad enough that I pulled myself out of a game and I said, I'm done. I'm not playing the rest of the year going through this. So then coming back in 2006, that was the very, very tough year for me because I really still had not just symptoms, I had vision problems. And this is the thing that you couldn't see. I tell people all the time, like people would say, how are you? I'm like, I think I'm fine. But I didn't realize that my vision, you have a convergence and divergence with your eyes, like they come together, and hitting a baseball, hardest thing in sports anyway. So I did vision training in 2007, and it was a test, and take a 3D glasses and take this triangle, put into the rectangle, and do a whole bunch of other exercises. When I put the triangle into the rectangle right in the middle, after the end of the exercise and whatever, I failed miserably, but it was 13 steps away from the target. So my eyes weren't working together. So when I look back and go, well, I hit 209 for the season, that's pretty damn impressive when you can't really see well. So, I mean, it was, I battled. I still ended up with a 380 something on base percentage because I just fought. So again, it was never, I'm not going to get back. It's, I got to get healthy. I got to find my way. And then when I found, it was a company called Visual Edge Performance Trainer, and the guy, Dr. Barry Seiler, who unfortunately passed away recently, it saved my life. It saved my life mentally. I was able to regain, I think it was short-term memory. I was able to recapture short-term memory. I was able to fix my visual alignment and train to get better. And my vertigo was starting to really go away. So there was never a point that, with the Cubs, I asked for my release, but there was never a point that I wasn't getting back to the major leagues.
So you bounce around the minors on several different organizations. And I would imagine at some point in time, you're thinking, man, I'm just not going to get back. And then in 2012, 7 years after your being, there's a petition started. Talk to me about this and how you got back to the majors for that at bat with the Marlins.
Well, I never quit in terms of being prepared. And there was a fan, Matt Liston, who changed my life. And what he gave me, he called me one day in the off season one time. He's like, hey, I'm going to get you back to the big leagues. And that was unfair what happened and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to do this campaign. And I said, I'm not a sideshow. I said, I didn't get there as a favor, and I'm not going to get back as a favor. So we had a lot of long, hard conversations. And it was more, again, just like this, I don't want to get back as a poor him. So I always said, I want to get back on my own merit. But as the more I talked to him, and at the time, I'll never forget, this was obviously weeks in between this conversation. He called me up and he said, hey, I want you to go watch this video. And I was with my wife and her twin sister, who was, at the time, she was going through cancer treatment and unfortunately passed away in 2012. But she was getting treatment, and he's calling me saying, go watch this video. So I go and I start watching this video, and it put me in tears. And it was interview. He did a bunch of interviews with Dusty Baker and this one and that one and all sorts of people. And it was like people cheering me on. It was wild. So I called him back and I said, you got me for anything you want, but I'm not going to play independent baseball anymore. And really where I got to a healthy place is you need an agent and somebody to be there to get eyeballs on you, right? That's your play can go so far, but if nobody's watching, it doesn't really matter. So I kind of looked at it as, okay, you're going to be my agent now. And it's not going to be a sideshow, but I'm going to play. And when I do get that opportunity, you're going to help get those eyeballs on me. And that's when Team Israel called, and I got an opportunity to play for Brad Osmus and Team Israel. And then the Marlins were watching. And it's what are you doing when nobody's looking or when you think nobody's looking? And I played and did everything that I possibly could and show that I was a major leaguer. And yeah, did they maybe jump the gun a little bit? Sure. But it wasn't because I was sitting home on the couch doing nothing. I went through 7.5 years of an absolute grind and proved on the field that I could do it at that level. So it wasn't going to be a sideshow.
We're talking with Adam Greenberg, and Adam, for the most part, that did end your baseball career the way you had hoped it would be. But, you got back in the box, and, dude, that takes some serious stones after taking one in the head like you did. I think every player knows what happened to you could happen to any of them. To see the players' reactions when you came back from that at bat in 2012, that had to really lift you up.
It was, I got to get a major league call up twice. And the first time I never got to really enjoy it. So with the likes of Giancarlo Stanton and Heath Bell at the time, and Ozzie Guillen, who was the manager of the Marlins. And I mean, it was an incredible group of people. They had a team meeting, and a lot of the guys that I had played with or against actually stood up on my behalf and said, this kid's a big leaguer. And the most rewarding feeling, because obviously there was a lot of media attention around it. So when my teammates that I played with stood up in front of the team and said, Adam is one of us. He is on our team, and he was a major leaguer, and he is a major leaguer. Being respected by your peers is more important than what a media news outlet or what the fans are going to react and how that's going to be. That was the most meaningful thing, and was every bit of the 7.5-year battle to get back. It was worth every second of it, because that's all that mattered to me. And as I said, the sideshow thing, there was none of it. I was on the team. I mean, and I remember going, and we were playing the Mets. So David Wright came over, and it was really, really cool. David, I gave him his, he came to UNC, and I was his host for a recruiting trip way back in the day. And we had the same agent. So again, it wasn't like just some dude who, we feel bad for this kid and we're going to give him a shot. So to your point, I think everyone who's ever been there or tried to get there realizes that just anything can happen. And I never quit, never gave up, and got the opportunity that I did, and got a standing ovation from probably more fans that have ever been at the Marlins Stadium ever. And I look back and I'm like, why the hell were they all there to watch me face the Cy Young Award-winning knuckleballer, who also said at the beginning of the game, I'm going to treat him like the big leaguer that he is. So again, that's where, I can get emotional even now. Just saying it out loud, where it's like, man, it was all worth it.
Can I go back just a second there? Because you said, I know you faced Dickey in 2012, but to me, back in 11, you ended up facing De Los Santos again in an independent league game. What was that like? Was there an emotion there? Did you guys get a chance to talk about this incident?
Yeah. So there was definitely emotion there. I had shoulder surgery that off season, and I heard that he was going to be pitching for the team that we were going to be facing the first game, the Long Island Ducks. So I was with the Bridgeport Bluefish. And my whole motivation during that offseason was to make it back for opening game. Nothing was going to stand in my way. 5 months to the date of surgery, 90% rotator tear, 7 anchors, and a labral repair. I made it back for that opening game. My emotion was, this is my major league at bat. Bring it on. Like, let's go. I did get to see him in the outfield before the game. So said a quick hello. We didn't talk too much about anything, but it was a nice embrace. And then probably the 8th inning, there he is. And here I was. It was time. And I mean, I was hitting with my shoulder up. I mean, it was like I wasn't ready to be playing, but there was no way that he was getting me out. That I knew. It just wasn't happening. So he threw the first pitch. Like I looked at him, he looked at me, and I kind of nodded, got in the box, and I'm thinking that he's gonna go away from me. Like he's gonna throw the ball way to hell over there. And he threw a first pitch cut fastball in at my hip over for strike one. I back out of the box, like took a step out, and I looked at him like, dude, if you're good, you're throwing that, game on. Like now it's a battle. So it got me very, very comfortable very quickly because it's just go mode. Got to one ball, 2 strike count. I think I fouled off a couple pitches, and I can say I laced the ball in the outfield and I got a base hit. Ball went through between first and second. It was a base hit, but in the books, it was a base hit. I got on base. I'm like, I did it. So to me, almost as big, if not bigger, personally, than facing R.A. Dickey at the stadium. That meant the world to me. And, you know, I can always look, well, what if I got a hit that day instead? And what if it didn't? That was what I got an opportunity to do. I got to, I'm not going to say face my fear because it wasn't a fear, but I got to face him again. I was a big leaguer. He was a big leaguer. It was back to 2005, and I won. I won that at bat.
Grab your boots, it's trivia time. Past our prime, but still in our prime. Questions rolling like a tumbleweed.
2006, a year after the incident, Mike Downey of the Chicago Tribune did an interview with you, and he compared you to Moonlight Graham, who 100 years earlier had appeared in his only major league game, and he didn't get an official at bat. And then it got recounted in the movie Field of Dreams. Did you agree with that assessment he had of you? Did you consider yourself sort of a Moonlight Graham?
Is that the A or B?
No, you'll see it. No, I'm coming to the A or B. I'm coming to it. I'm just interested in your take on it.
So at the time, just like anyone who would say to me, hey, at least you made it. You made it. It would irritate me to no end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never would ever say anything but it was a fire that would burn in me where it's like, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't ever compare me or say at least you made it. Cause in my mind, I had to live in the world of, I haven't made it yet.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get back or get to somewhere, I couldn't be comfortable. Like being comfortable, you get complacent. So there was never a point where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I kind of, now I've watched the movie with my 3 kids and I say, hey, this is kind of like your dad. Like, so it's pretty cool in some ways to look at it from the lens today versus the lens back then. So I never burned any bridges when somebody would say something, but again,
right.
I used it as motivation.
So here's my trivia question to you. So in the movie Field of Dreams, which you've watched with your kids, Burt Lancaster plays the older Moonlight Graham. True or false? Burt Lancaster was actually a professional baseball player at one time.
Oh, Burt. Oh, that was. I'm gonna go. I'm only going to go. It's hard to be a professional baseball player.
It is.
But I'll go with true only because I think this is a leading question.
Okay, it's false, but Burt Lancaster was an incredible athlete. He was a gymnast. He was actually an acrobat in a circus before he became a movie star. And if you watch his early movies, you will actually see him do acrobatic moves.
Really?
Like yeah. So just a little.
Nice.
That's why it's trivia.
Wonderful. Hey, Adam, 20 years later, are there any after effects to this day of the injury?
Depends on who you ask. People that I know. No, I don't believe so. I've been very, very, very fortunate. Certainly none of the positional vertigo has come back. I mentioned 2.5 years after my incident, I have never had another true incident. I can't do spinny things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just not cool. But in terms of like short-term memory and just overall ability visually. Like I've done a lot of the vision training and just testing, see where I am. Everything is still in place. Everything's still good. So I was able to learn a lot about nutrition and kinesiology after that, chiropractic. Ended up starting a nutrition company because of so many different things that helped me along the way, including telling anyone and everyone about the vision training. But I've been so fortunate and blessed that since that incident, I don't have any recurring symptoms from it.
I know you're married, you're a father of 3. You could have lost everything, yet in some ways you now have everything. You refer to the incident as a gift. I mean, man plans, God laughs, right?
Yes, 100%. And again, people, I do get asked all the time, like, what do you think? Are you angry? Are you this? And it's like, I got to experience something that very few people ever get a chance to experience. And I got to do it twice. And it didn't go the way that I wanted. It didn't go the way that I planned. But to your point, all the planning in the world, it wasn't, I don't want to say meant to be, because I also have got going through what I've gone through and seeing a lot of people who have gone through struggles and losing family members or children of all. I have a hard time saying, well, that's your plan. Like there's a plan. Like that's it. I kind of look at it more like God gives us the opportunity to choose and take whatever is given and make something or nothing of it. Because I've learned time goes with or without us. And the only thing we have is the decision to go this direction or that direction. So I just feel blessed that I had the wherewithal after I went through what I went through to be able to keep persevering and pushing through. And for that is the reason that I wrote my book, Get Up, The Art of Perseverance, is because every human being has that gift. Everyone has the ability to persevere because we make that choice ourselves. And our attitude, it's our decision. So it's like being able to teach that and give that and provide that has been very, very rewarding. And again, I know that I wouldn't have the same impact on people's lives, maybe, had I just been a Major League Baseball player, who you may be forgotten, you may not. But again, you say 50 years ago, and you guys, obviously I haven't been on this earth 50 years, but you go back 50 years to something that happened and it triggers something that happened to me. And then we're having this conversation, and hopefully people can listen to this podcast and have something in their life be impacted in a positive way. And that's where I can always say, I'm grateful for what has happened. Yes, my wife, my kids, my family, what I've done, and all that stuff is great, but impacting other people and sharing your experiences, there's really no more rewarding thing in the world, and as far as I see.
You know, we've interviewed hundreds of baseball players. No one comes close to going through something like you. You are the inspiration that you set out to be. I'm so happy to have met you today. I think I can speak for Mark and Bill. Yes. We all are. Thanks so much for coming on the Past Our Prime podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
The book is Get Up, The Art of Perseverance, written by our guest Adam Greenberg with Ben Biddick. What a story. Okay, next up, some more baseball as the Red Sox have found themselves a second baseman. Their offense was a juggernaut. Fred Lynn was in the midst of an insane rookie season that would see him become the first player to ever win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. Jim Rice was second in Rookie of the Year voting. Carlton Fisk's a stud. Yaz still a force. Dewey Evans becoming one. Then you had Cecil Cooper, Rick Burleson, Bernie Carbo all chipping in. They had one weakness in their entire lineup, and it was probably second base. They had a guy named Doug Griffin playing there. He's hitting .240. He does have a home run and 2 stolen bases. So not much out of Doug. So they get Denny Doyle. They get him from the Angels, Billy.
I know, that's unusual.
Where he's not doing anything. And then he comes over to Boston, and what does he do? Goes on a 22-game hitting streak. He would actually hit .298 for the Sox that season, by far his highest of his career, when he was a .250 hitter overall. So, and get this, I love this stat. In the World Series, there are 7 Hall of Famers on the Reds and Red Sox. Rose, Bench, Morgan Perez, Yaz, Fisk, and Rice. And the only player in the entire 7-game series that got a hit in every game, Denny Doyle.
Wow.
Coming out party.
Well, as they talk about Doyle, it looked like his streak was getting in 19 games. Boston had a 6-3 lead against the Tigers. Louis Tiant's on the mound. He's pitching ninth, which is news of itself today.
Right.
But Tiant loses his stuff, gives up 4 runs. Tigers take the lead 7-6. But then Doyle leads off the bottom of the ninth with a single, scores the tying run, and they win the game 8-7. And of course, why am I mentioning that?
Tigers.
Because that's one of the Tigers' losses in their record-breaking club streak, which has now reached 14 games.
Yeah, we were wondering if they would go 0-6 this week, 0-7, or as it turns out, they went 0-8.
Yep.
Just to play the doubleheader.
Yeah, doubleheaders there. So they are just in a free fall. Their streak is at 14 games, and it's not ending yet. They still got ways to go.
Can I say one last thing about Denny Doyle?
No.
Sure.
How many how many no-hitters does Nolan Ryan have?
7.
He should have 8.
That's right.
Because Doyle registered a leadoff single in the first inning against Nolan Ryan of the New York Mets back in 1970. That was the only hit Ryan allowed in a complete game effort.
The
And
bastard.
Denny Doyle did it again to another pitcher as well. So he was always good at busting people up.
Yeah, I went and looked at his stats, and he didn't strike out or walk. He was very good at putting the ball in play.
Yep.
Up to the same old tricks. The talk of the football world is no longer the Miami Dolphins, but the players who have left the Miami Dolphins for the World Football League. Zonka, Kick, and Warfield are gone, and while Shula misses all 3, it's Zonka that will be toughest to replace. The guy never fumbled. I don't think he fumbled 5 times in 5 years. Or look at it this way. With Zonka in the lineup, we always had a no-error offense, Shula said. So, you got to remember, this is before really free agency. So, it would be one thing for them to have lost 1 player. But for them to have lost 3 marquee players from a team that had won 2 Super Bowls recently, I mean, that was just shocking, not just for the Miami, but the entire NFL. To see
change their whole offense. They were trying to change their offense. They went back to the running game, but still, you can't replace those 3 guys.
Nope.
Yeah, they were shocked because there was a couple times when they threw on first down. And as you mentioned, Billy, time and time again, in like one of those Super Bowls, I think Greasy threw the ball like 5 times.
Yep.
I mean, they talked in this article about they basically would run this one play to Zonka 18 or 19 times in a row, and he would either go off right tackle or left tackle. And the defense would even say, "We know what you're doing," and they still couldn't stop it. And that is the definition of unstoppable. And you could argue, 50 years later that the Dolphins have never recovered. They've never won a Super Bowl since then.
Only been to 1.
And
the Dan Marino one.
Yep.
2, right? They lost. The Riggins one was not Dan Marino. That was
right.
That
was the John Riggins. That was Riggins.
All right. There's only one kind of fishing. I don't normally get too interested in the articles on fishing, but this one for some reason
is awesome.
Caught my eye.
I'm a big fisher. I know you guys don't believe that, but I grew up fishing.
A fictionalized account by George Packard on those who passionately pursue the giant bluefin tuna. Billy, this was fascinating, wasn't it?
Oh my God. When I saw this, I got excited because this is what my father and I used to do together. One of the few things. Now they don't actually, I know you guys think bluefins. They're not really bluefins at all. They're almost black fins. And they're basically, they're a Linnaeus. They named it Thunius timatus. And it's the most abundant of the telestand fish, commonly reaching weights of over 500 pounds. It's just amazing, these fish.
Yeah. Mark, these guys went fishing almost every day. Why was that necessary?
Mark?
Oh, did you address that to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're waiting for you to tell us why. I mean, this is a great story.
You'll have to tell it because I don't know it because I
I'm,
said
I'm not. No, there's a great punchline in it. It's obvious. It was on that one page.
oh wait, I got her. I skipped past it. I didn't realize we were doing it.
We didn't. I didn't read this
Neither
thing
did I.
either.
Mark, what I read, I just looked up, man. I just looked that stuff up. Oh, yes. It's a Linnaeus named the Thunis timatus, and it's the most abundant of the telestine fish. How would I know that? Scott, it worked out perfectly what we did.
You got
Mark
me.
just completely stopped.
Yeah, I was like, what? What?
I'm talking about fishing with my dad, who wouldn't have a fishing pole in his hand if his life depended on it. You know,
If I know better, Billy, your dad would have a fishing pole only to whack someone over the head with it.
that's exactly right. There'd be no way, man. A fishing pole or a hams. Let's get serious.
I'm thinking of a word right now. It begins with the word F, okay, and it ends
Oh,
with
and it ends with McGregor.
F. You McGregor.
Come down the stretch they come.
For the record, Mark.
I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. Just kidding. I'm going to do Yogi Berra because Yogi Berra gets fired by the New York Mets after 3.5 years as their manager. Yogi had a real connection. I mean, playing for the Yankees. He was managed the Yankees briefly in 64. Then he goes to the Mets from 72 to 75. Then he goes back to the Yankees where he's a coach from 76 to 83. And then he manages the Yankees again in 84, 85. So this is his small slice of being in New York, but not being a Yankee. And the Mets said, so long.
And this is
Yogi said,
75 after he guided them in 73 to a
yeah, playoff.
World
Series, yeah.
a win
You beat
away
them.
from the World Series and beating the A's, but he's out. So in a matter of 2 weeks, Yogi's out and Billy Martin is in. I got one.
Yeah.
Died Jack Moses, 43, an all-Ivy basketball player at Columbia in 1953 and the first-round pick of the NBA Fort Wayne Pistons, who was imprisoned in 1963 for fixing college basketball games of a gunshot wound in Hollywood, California. Police did not rule this out, that it may have been a mob hit. His business partner had been beaten to death in November of 74.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
Man, I bet you that that guy had a fishing pole coming at him.
Yes.
Not good.
Man.
Faces in the crowd, Mark.
I got Jeff Roberts. He's an 11-year-old Little League kid from Lake Havasu, Arizona. He led his Little League team to its third straight regional title. In 20 games, he batted .803. He got to hit 80% of the time. Hit 12 homers, knocked in 54 runs. He had an 8-0 record as a pitcher, including 2 no-hitters. One was a perfect game. He just dominated Little League. But Jeff Roberts ended up playing baseball at Arizona State University, and he was actually in the Mariners minor league system for 2 years. Didn't get very far, but hey, a kid is a Little League star making it to professional baseball. It's a big deal.
You got to think that if the guy's hitting 803, that means the 20% of the time that he made out, he was just lining it right at someone.
Yeah.
He was also drafted twice. So he was drafted by the Orioles a few years before he was drafted by the Mariners. So obviously people saw the talent that he had.
Oh, for sure. 19th hole, the readers take over, Billy.
Okay, this is from James Lee LaRegina. He said, Jackman's article on Greg Luzinski may bring in a flood of letters from Philly fans. They'll probably say something like, Greg Luzinski is no one to fool with. Neither are his teammates, and the Pirates know it. And they have a reason to say so. Still, the Bucks have no need to be scared of the Phillies. If they believe in tradition, along with the Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers, the Phillies will choke. Los Angeles already has. Even under Fireball Billy Martin, the Bronx Bombers will end up duds. Forget the Red Sox. They've only won 2 pennants since 1918. Big Greg, Big Mike, and Big Dick might smack 100 homers for the Phillies, but Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Oakland, and Baltimore will win.
You want to
He did
rephrase
say
that?
that. He did. Sorry. I'm still a child at heart. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I mean,
So said Richard.
did he not read that back? Okay, honey, Big Greg, Big Mike, Big Dick. Mike, I just don't get it. You got to read it back to yourself.
You do.
Oh,
It's
God.
very
I never read
important.
before. I read this like 3 times. I never caught that until I just read it there. So,
I
but hey,
we heard you catch it.
yeah, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Oakland, and Baltimore. That was a good choice, though.
It was.
Yeah.
I got one. This is in regard to last week's article by Curry Kirkpatrick, and we had on to discuss the over the line tournament in Los Angeles during the 30s. This is R.W. Hegland, and he writes, over the line was our mainstay throughout the summer in the 30s in Los Angeles. Royal Clark apparently eliminated the base running. In my era, the batter got as many bases as he could reach before the fielding team returned the ball over the line. The elimination of running is a doubtful improvement, but the addition of Miss Emerson is a grand slam. So you win some, you lose some with R.W. Hegland from Houston. Hey, that's it, boys. Another one in the tank. What do we got next week? We have, I think, Bart Starr on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And
The Cowboy Killer.
we will have Bill Curry, the former Alabama coach and Green Bay Packers player who snapped the ball to Bart Starr for many a years when he was both playing for the Packers. Bart is now coaching the Packers. Didn't go as well for him as a coach as it did a player, so we'll find out why from Coach Curry, one of our favorite guests from last year. Until next week, thanks for listening. Don't forget to share with your friends. Give us a review. Even my mom says this show is too long. But hey, we can take criticism. What are moms for, right?
And by the way, before we go, if any of see McGregor, let him know.
Let them know what?
Let him know to listen. What are you, deaf?
Go back to getting Tina.
For Bill, for Mark, and for McGregor, I'm Scott, and we are past our prime.